The now famous Area 51 is no longer a conspiracy. In fact, it left that realm years ago when the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, officially declassified its existence, as a place where the military was testing advanced aerial technology. But, if you really want to know the truth about hidden military bases, we've already covered that, and you can find several videos in our YouTube channel. There is more than just one Area 51, that's important to keep in mind, especially if this classified world is being funded with our tax dollars. Bob Lazar is one of the people who initially blew the lid off the secrecy of places like Area 51. He is a man who is admired by many in the field, simply because his story has always remained consistent. He knew the location and description of this base, decades before it was recently made public a few years ago. His story also corroborates with many whistleblowers who actually have verified backgrounds from within various sects of the military, government, and entire military-industrial complex, which is also a phenomenon that exploded long after Lazar started speaking. There are many examples to choose from, like Steve Justice, the recently retired Director of Advanced Systems at Lockheed Skunk Works, or former Director, Ben Rich, who has made multiple comments on UFO technology. There are literally hundreds of these types of people from within who are now speaking out. Furthermore, at the end of 2017 the UFO topic took a turn. The US government released official video footage, radar tracking, electro-optical data, and pilot testimony, as well as admitting to recovering materials from these crafts. Many are skeptical, as they should be with anything that comes from our governments. The people have lost much trust in them, and we're starting to realize that we cannot continue relying on this system. Lazar hit the mainstream and became quite popular after claiming to have worked on reverse engineering extraterrestrial technology at a site called S4, near the Area 51 facility. He's also mentioned information about extraterrestrials and the fact that there are multiple groups, some of which have been in contact with several global governments. Everything is in a process of investigation both in the United States and in Spain, as well as the rest of the world. The nations of the world are currently working together in the investigation of the UFO phenomenon. There is an international exchange of data. General Carlos Castro Cavero, 1979. He also claims to have been in contact with Edward Teller, a Hungarian-American theoretical physicist, known as the father of the hydrogen bomb. On a side note, individuals of Teller's stature have long been speaking up about the UFO issue. Take one of the founding fathers of modern rocketry, Hermann Oberth, who stated that, "It is my thesis that flying saucers are real and that they are spaceships from another solar system. I think that they possibly are manned by intelligent observers who are members of a race that may have been investigating our Earth for centuries." He met Teller at a conference and had a brief discussion with him. Lazar sent him a resume inquiring about a job. Lazar said that, Dr. Teller responded by telephone and told me that he was no longer active, but just functioned in a consultant capacity. He gave me the name of a contact to call in Las Vegas. I made that call and things progressed from there. When Teller was asked on camera if he knew Bob Lazar, he refused to answer and said if asked again, he will sit silently. Lazar currently runs a business called United Nuclear, where he maintains the availability of scientific equipment, supplies and chemicals to the general public, experimenters and learning institutions. They make basic scientific supplies as well as difficult to find, rare and unusual science-related products available to the hobbyist, teacher, experimenter, and professional organizations. Joe Rogan and Tom DeLonge. These two names have been quite popular. Personally, I believe DeLonge might be being used by some powerful people, as well as others, to put out the truth, but at the same time, and probably not knowing it, share some disinformation. But again, I mention that in one of the articles linked above which specifically speaks about that more in depth. I mention these two here because in a Joe Rogan podcast with Tom DeLonge, both of them mentioned Bob Lazar and both believed, Tom had no doubt given who he is currently surrounded by and the stories he's probably heard.